Hi all, welcome to Concept Wise Learning Hub. In today's class, we are going to discuss the topic business risk and how to start a business. Our first topic is business risk. Every entrepreneur start a business with the expectation of earning profit. But can any businessman say with 100% confidence that I will definitely earn profit every year? No, right? Because business always operate in an uncertain environment. Sometimes sales may increase, sometimes sales may decrease, sometimes the business earn high profit, sometimes it earns only a small amount of profit. In some situations, the business may even suffer losses. This is uncertainty. This is called business risk. Now let's understand the definition. Business risk refers to the possibility of inadequate profits or losses due to uncertainties in business activities. So here we notice two important points. The first word is possibility. So risk does not mean loss will definitely happen. It only means there is a chance that the business may not achieve the expected profit. The second important word is uncertainty. Since future events cannot be predicted perfectly, business decisions always involve uncertainty. So let's understand it with a simple example. Suppose a shopkeeper purchases 500 umbrellas before the rainy season. He expects heavy rainfall and believes that all umbrellas will be sold. But unexpectedly, there is a very little rain. Customers do not buy umbrellas. As a result, the shopkeeper cannot sell all his stock and suffer a financial loss. This is possibility of loss is known as business risk. Risk is only a possibility, not a certainty. In this slide, we will discuss why is risk called a special characteristic of business. So every business deals with future and no one can predict the future perfectly. This is why every business involves some degree of risk. So let's understand three important points. The first one is uncertain future. Business decisions are always made for the future, but future market conditions keep changing. For example, customer preference may change, competitors may enter the market, technology may change, government policies may change. Because of all these uncertainty, risk become unavoidable. The next is no guaranteed profit. Every business hopes to earn profit, but profit is never guaranteed. Even well-established company may experience losses due to unexpected situation. Therefore, profit and risk always go together. Next is universal presence. So risk exists in every business, whether it is a small grocery shop or a multinational company. Every business faces some level of risk. So a business without risk does not exist. Now let's understand the nature of business risk. The first one is arises due to uncertainty. So the future cannot be predicted accurately. No entrepreneurs know exactly how customers, competitors, or the economy will behave in future. Therefore, uncertainty is the main reason behind business risk. The next point is essential part of every business. So, risk is present in every business activity. Whether a person starts a restaurant, a clothing store, or a software company, there is always an uncertainty about customers' response. So, therefore, risk cannot be separated from business. Next is degree of risk varies. Although every business has risk, the level of risk is not the same. Some businesses are more riskier than the other. For example, a fashion business faces frequent change in customer preference. On the other hand, a software company with long-term contracts may experience comparatively low risk. Therefore, the degree of risk differs from one business to another. Now let's understand the relationship between risk and profit. Profit is a reward for risk. Why do entrepreneurs earn profit? because they are willing to take risk. If there is no willingness to face uncertainty, there will be no opportunity to earn profit. That is why profit is called the reward for taking business risk. Higher risk, possibility of higher profit. But we have to remember that higher risk does not guarantee higher profit. It only increases the possibility. So sometimes higher risk may also result in heavy losses. Therefore, entrepreneurs should take calculated risk, not unnecessary risk. Now, next is risk can be reduced, not eliminated. So it can be risk can be reduced by through proper management. Some common methods are taking insurance, market research, proper planning, and diversification. Insurance protects the business from financial losses. Market research helps to understand customers' demand. Proper planning reduces the uncertainty, and diversification spreads risk across different products or markets. Now let's understand the causes of business risk. Business risk arise due to many reasons. These causes are broadly classified into four categories. The first one is natural cause. These includes flood, earthquake, cyclone, drought and fire. Such events damage buildings, machineries and stocks. Then business operations may stop for several days or even months. Next is human cause. Human cause includes employee strikes, theft, dishonesty, fraud, and riots. So, here human actions may reduce productivity and increase financial loss. Next is economic cause. Economic conditions also affect business. Example include inflation, fall in demand, increased competition, and recession. When customers reduce their spendings, sales decreases and profit falls. The other causes. Apart from natural, human, and economic factors, business also faces risk due to changes in government policies, technological development, political instability, and changing customer preference. Business must continuously monitor these changes to remain competitive. Students, before we move to the next topic, let's quickly revise what we learned about business risk. Business risk simply means the possibility of earning inadequate profits or suffering losses due to uncertainty in business activities. One important point to remember is that risk is a part of every business. No entrepreneurs can completely avoid risk because the future is always uncertain. Another important concept is the relationship between risk and profit. Profit is considered the reward for taking risk. Generally, a business with higher risk has the possibility of earning higher profit. However, this does not mean that higher risk always result in higher profit. Sometimes it may also lead to heavy losses. So, we have to remember that risk can reduce but it cannot eliminate. So, through proper planning, insurance, market research, and diversification, entrepreneurs can reduce risk, but no business can completely avoid or remove risk. So, always remember this point, no risk means no business. High risk gives us high possibility of profit. Our next topic is how to start a business. To start a business, we have to do a proper planning, careful decision making, and effective use of available resources. This complete process is known as entrepreneurship. The person who starts the business is called an entrepreneur, and the person who starts and manage a business is called an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur identifies opportunities, arranges resources, takes risk and establishes a business enterprise. The business organization created by the entrepreneur is called a business enterprise. So before starting any business, an entrepreneur must carefully analyze several important factors. Ignoring these factors may increase business risk and reduce the chance of success. Now, Let's discuss the 8 important factors to be considered before starting a business. So, the first point is selection of the type of business. This is the most basic decision because the success of a business largely depend on choosing the right business opportunities. While selecting a business, the entrepreneur should consider several points. The first is market demand. So, the entrepreneur should identify whether the customer actually needs the product or service. A business without demand cannot survive for longer period. Next is profit potential. The selected business should have the ability to generate reasonable profit. The third is technical knowledge. The entrepreneur should possess the required knowledge and skills to manage that business effectively. The next is personal interest. A business that matches the entrepreneur's interest and passion usually has better chance of long-term success. Then after selecting the type of business, the entrepreneur must decide the size of the business. The size may be small scale, medium scale or large scale. This decision depends on several factors such as availability of capital, expected market demand, availability of resources, business experience, etc. Many successful business starts on a small scale and gradually expand as demand increases. The correct size choosing helps in controlling costs and reducing business risk. After deciding the type and size of the business, the next important decision is selecting the location of the business. A wrong location may increase transportation cost, reduce the customer's accessibility, and ultimately decrease profit. Before selecting a location, an entrepreneur should consider availability of raw materials, availability of skilled labor, transportation facilities, communication facilities, banking services, warehousing facilities, electric and power supply. For example, a manufacturing unit should ideally be located near the source of raw materials to reduce transportation cost. Similarly, a retail business should be located in an area where customers can easily access the shop. The next important factor is financing the business. No business can function without adequate finance. Finance is required for the purchasing land, construction of buildings, buying machineries, purchasing raw material, paying employee salary, and meeting day-to-day business expenses. So, finance is often called the lifeblood of business because every business activities depend upon the availability of fund. If sufficient finance is not available, even a good business idea may fail. Therefore, entrepreneurs should estimate their financial requirements carefully before starting the business. Next, we are going to discuss the next point, physical facilities. Physical facilities refers to all the tangible resources required to operate a business efficiently. These include land, building, machinery, equipments, furniture, power supply. The type of physical facility requires depend upon the nature and size of business. For example, a manufacturing business requires heavy machinery and factory buildings, whereas a software company mainly requires computers, office space, and internet connectivity. So, students, without adequate physical facilities, production and business operation cannot be carried out effectively. The next factor is competence and committed workforce. Every successful business depends upon its employees. Employees include workers, supervisors, managers, and other trained staff. A competent workforce improves productivity, maintains product quality, provides better customer service, and helps the organization to achieve its objectives. So, in simply, investing money is not enough. A business also needs skilled, experienced, and dedicated employees. That is why human resources are often called the backbone of every business. Therefore, selecting the right workforce is one of the most important decisions while starting a business. Now let's discuss the final two factors that every entrepreneur should consider before starting a business. The first factor is tax planning. Many students think that tax planning is something that should be done only after starting the business. But actually, tax planning should begin even before the business starts. Tax planning means estimating the tax liability in advance and making business decisions accordingly. Every business has to comply with various tax laws such as GDST and income tax. Proper tax planning helps an entrepreneur in several ways. First, it ensures that the business complies with government rules and regulations, thereby avoiding legal penalties. Second, it helps in reducing unnecessary tax burden through proper financial planning. Third, it improves financial management because the entrepreneur can estimate future tax payments and maintain sufficient funds to meet these obligations. Tax planning does not mean tax evasion. Tax planning means legally reducing tax liability by making proper financial decisions. Tax evasion means illegally avoiding tax by hiding income or giving false information. Tax planning is legal, whereas tax evasion is illegal and punishable by law. So, next we will move on to the final factor, that is launching the enterprises. So, launching the enterprise is the final stage in starting a business. Up to this stage, the entrepreneur has already selected the type of business, decide its size, arranged finance, select the location, purchased the physical facilities, recruited the employees, and completed the tax planning. Now it's time to convert the business idea into reality. So, launching the enterprise involves completing all legal formalities, arranging resource, purchasing raw materials, starting production or providing services, beginning marketing and promotional activity, selling goods or services to customers. So, students, this is the stage where planning ends and actual business operations begins. Only after launching does the business starts generating revenue and work towards earning profit. Therefore, launching the enterprise is considered the final step in establishing a business. Students, let's revise the 8 basic factors for starting a business. The first one is selection of type of business. Choose a business according to market demand, profit potential, technical knowledge, and personal interest. The second point is size of business. So decide whether the business should be small scale, medium scale, or large scale based on capital availability, resources, and expected demand. Next, third point is location of business. Select a location that provides easy access to raw material, labor, transportation, communication, banking, and other facilities. Next, fourth point is financing the business. Arranging adequate capital for purchasing assets and meeting day-to-day business expenses. Next, fifth point is physical facility. Providing all necessary infrastructure such as land, building, machinery, equipment, and power supply. Next, sixth is competent workforce. Here, recruit skilled, experienced, and dedicated employees who can improve the productivity and business performance. Seventh is tax planning. Estimate tax liabilities in advance, comply with legal requirements to avoid future problems. The eighth is launching the enterprise. Complete the legal formalities, mobilize resources, and begin the actual business operation. Now let's summarize the entire chapter. The first important concept is business risk. Business risk means the possibility of inadequate profit or losses due to uncertainty in business activities. Risk is present in every business because future conditions cannot be predicted accurately. No business can completely avoid risk. The second important concept is the relationship between risk and profit. Profit is considered the reward for taking business risk. Generally, higher risk creates the possibility of earning higher profit, but it also increases the possibility of loss. Therefore, entrepreneurs should always take calculated risk, not unnecessary risks. The third important concept is starting a business. Starting a business is not just investing money, it requires careful planning and proper decision making. Every entrepreneur should carefully analyze the 8 important factors before launching a business. Proper planning reduces uncertainty, improves decision making, and increases the chance of business success. Students, with this, we have completed the topic business risk and starting a business. If you found this lecture useful, please like, share, and subscribe to Concept Wise Learning Hub. Clear concept for smarter study. Thank you for watching. See you in next class.